Static in the wires. Got a question like the fire. Turn it up, let it ring. From the fringe, let it sing. Yeah. Deep cut topics that they said off limits. Every crack in the map, every edge, every image. Pull the thread, watch the whole thing twist. Every can't talk that goes on the list. Black coffee, late night, eyes on the clues. You can keep your script, we rewrite the news. From the shadows to the main feed, shine that beam. What you buried in the dark, we drag on screen. Whoa! From the fringe where the lost ones be. Where the strange turn sharp. Where the quiet hearts beat. Turn it loud, let the doubt unhinge. If you wanna know more, come. From the fringe. From the fringe. From the
the hospital from getting this ultrasound. I'm joking with my wife at the time that we're going to stop at the store and get some wine and cook this big Italian dinner, and I'm going to have some drinks because I haven't been diagnosed with anything yet. Is that sick looking back on it now, that I'm the very reason I'm at the hospital getting a test at 40 years old or 39 or whatever, I'm sorry, I was older than that, but I'm getting a test because of my drinking and cirrhosis, and here I am making a joke that I haven't been diagnosed with it, so I'm going to drink. So,
but that's also the behavior of, like, I'm not going to admit it to myself.
No,
because it's always easy to blame someone else.
100%.
You accepting responsibility for why you're there and how you got there, or anything in between, is always the hardest thing. And we all know people that always pass that buck and that blame off onto other things. But when you're dealing with addiction of any kind, that is always it's the same story, a different social. It's always, well, if they're going to give me a death sentence, prove it. Like, I'm going to go enjoy myself.
Death sentence. I'm going to live my life the way I want to.
Well,
Yeah,
Lou,
I got a year to live. I'm going to live it on my terms.
Lou, it's funny. It's funny you said that, because 10 a.m. the next morning, my doctor, we're in the Zoom world now. My doctor Zooms me to give me the results, and she's a sweet girl, a sweet woman, I should say, and around our age. John grew up here local. You probably know her, and she calls me and says, "Hey, I got your results last night, the night I took the test." And she goes, "I couldn't call you." But she goes, "Hey, you've got pretty severe cirrhosis, and there's nothing they can do, for it." And I'm at work, and I'm a professional, and I'm in my office, and I remember talking to her just being like, shit, and she's tearing up. My doctor, who's not supposed to be emotionally attached to her patient, she's tearing up telling me. So of course that freaks me out, because your doctor's tearing up telling you something. So she was a good woman. And so she told me, and, it doesn't take, don't WebMD things, because that's what I did. And, you've got about a 30% chance of a stage, an F4, stage 4 cirrhosis. You've got about a 30% chance of making it a year. And it's not a fun death. So it's not like you're just going to not wake up one day. It's going to be liver failure, jaundice, ascites fluid, portal hypertension, whereas essentially you bleed to death. It's all these things. So what did I do? I book a bunch of trips, and I never quit drinking, in 2023. So from April rolls into May, I'm at the Kentucky Derby. I'm sitting next to Kurt Herbstreit, and Brett Favre was there. We're in a different section, but right behind us is this Millionaires Row. At the end of the night, I'm slamming drinks the entire week of the Derby. Don't think I was sober the whole time. Meanwhile, I look like I'm pregnant from my stomach being swollen from cirrhosis. I'm 100 pounds heavier than I am now, thinking everything in life is great, but that's what it does to you. So, we're up in Millionaires Row that evening, and I'm taking pictures with the owner of Mage, the horse that won the Derby that year. That's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And here I am, completely drunk and completely just destroying myself, because in the name of bucket list, right? Like a movie. That's what I'm doing. And so we did that. We went to the Derby, my wife and I, and then we went to Chicago for a week and did a tour of the city and saw some of her family. And then we rent this big beach house for a week that had like 12, you sleeps 12 people. And we invited a bunch of her family came down, and I'm just made an asshole out of myself drinking. Your ammonia builds up in your body, your brain doesn't work right, and I'm not making any sense. And it's just repeat. Well, that Labor Day, and I'm drinking. I'm a man who's dying of cirrhosis, and I'm drinking from April of 2023 until, we get back from a trip on Labor Day, and then she runs this marathon, and I go to the marathon, and long story short, I didn't see them finish, and it was because I was drinking, and she drops a bombshell on me, and it was just like, hey, your drinking's out of control. I'm moving out, and her mother has a house out on a ranch in Osceola County. Her mother passed away, and so my wife goes out there for a few days, and I was like, all right, she's going to cool down. Didn't cool down. She comes back, and she wants a divorce. So what does that do to somebody who's drinking and has cirrhosis? So from October to November, I don't remember being sober of 2023 at all. And I went through Thanksgiving by myself. And I'm going to say something on this podcast that a lot of people won't touch on, but that's a dark place you're in, and you have some thoughts of your only way out. And trust me, I made a decision to live every day, because it was, that thought crossed my mind to end it all every single day at that point. So I started calling these rehabs drunk, in the middle of the night, I'm calling rehabs, and they call you right back because, nothing like capitalism to make them call you right back. And,
Yep.
and I'm sure their hearts were in the right place, but trust me, they wanted your insurance information the minute they called you back.
100%.
And so I go through Thanksgiving alone, and when I tell you, if I was awake, I was drinking. So here I am, artificial hips, I'm in pain, I'm overweight, I'm a walking heart attack, I've got cirrhosis, every reason in the world not to be drinking, and what am I doing? I'm pounding drinks down. And so I get through Thanksgiving, and I just wake up on a Sunday, that November 26th of 2023, and I said, I'm going to die any minute, because I fully believe I would have, with the level I was drinking at, or I would have ended my own life. There was one of the two ways I was not making it to another holiday. No doubt in my mind. And all friends, anybody that's heard this are like, man, you should have called. I would have been there for you. And I'm sure that they all think they would have been, but I'm not there for myself. So I'm not going to call somebody. That's the last thing I wanted to do, was call anybody. And so I don't know. I woke up that morning, and I was drinking from sunup until about noon. And I had been talking to this angel of a woman. Her name's Leah. She was in admissions at one of the a residential treatment center, who was like, listen, I called her at the beginning of this, 5 days before Thanksgiving, and she called me every day, not pressuring me to come to treatment, but just called me every day and talked to me. And you cry, you laugh, you all the things you do when you're in despair. And I finally said, I got to get some help. So career be damned, children, wife, I'm going to die if I don't get some help. And my ego was not going to let that happen. It had nothing to do with, I want to say I did it for the right reasons, but it was selfish. It was like, I'm going to go out on my own. I'm not going to die of alcohol. So I made that call, and they sent a car for me. My clothes, to put it in perspective on how fast I was in a car going to treatment, was my wife. I called her at the time. Now we're full on getting a divorce at this point. She's out at the ranch, out at her mom's property, and I call her, tell her, hey, I'm going to go to treatment. So she was all, in hindsight, she was happy to see me get out of that house, So she rushes home and plays the good wife and throws a bunch of clothes in the washing machine, and they weren't even dry. And the car got there to take me to the place I went to up northern part of the state. It was around Ocala. And they threw my wet clothes, semi-wet clothes in a bag. I go to this treatment center, and then you start wearing off, right? You don't feel drunk, and you're like, oh, shit. I got a career, I got friends, I got a life, and it starts hitting you, are you making the right choice? Well, I'm sitting there, and I'm completely sober at this point. It's like 5 p.m. or something like that. I hadn't drank in 5 or 6 hours. and I'm in treatment, and they're like, hey, can you give us a urinalysis? I'm at the intake. And so I give them a urinalysis, all part of their intake. And I'm not kidding you guys. If you poured a glass of tea, sweet tea, as we say here in the South, you poured it in a cup, that's what my urine looked like. That's your body is shutting down.
Completely dehydrated.
Yeah, I mean, when I tell you it looked like you wouldn't have been able to tell it was not sweet tea. Now, I was shocked, and here I am in oblivion drinking.
Yeah.
And so they run it, and they come back in. They're like, you know what? You know, the alcohol that you have in your system. They said you just, or no, they did the urine test to make sure, you know, that whatever I had in my system. Then they gave me a breathalyzer. It's all part of this intake. And they're like, are you feeling okay? I said, I'm completely fine. And, you know, in my mind, I'm sober and all that. And I blew a 0.28. I'm talking sitting here talking like we are right now. I blew a 0.28. And only after weeks and months did I learn what alcohol does to your body. You know, when you think it's in and out, and it's never really out. So I'm by all stretch of the imagination, they told me if I had blown a 0.3 or higher, they wouldn't have accepted me into the treatment center. I would have had to go to the hospital, you know, get myself right and come back. So that's a dangerous, and the head nurse, this guy, Tom, who was so cool, he goes, man, I didn't even know you had alcohol in your system right now. So how scary is that? You know, all these guys that are drinking every day, like at any moment, you're above the legal limit. You might think you've only had a couple beers that day, but the science behind it of how much your body stores things. So I get in this place. They're all behavioral health now. You know, it's not just a Betty Ford or a Hazelton where people go for substance abuse. Now that, you know, in the name of capitalism, they, you know, any kind of ailment that you have, they treat everybody. And in my case, at that one facility, is about 40 people. So anywhere from severe mental disorders to trauma, PTSD, to alcoholism, to drugs, or any combination of it. So I get there, and I'm telling you, I'm walking to my unit. It's like these little cottages on the 60 acres of, you know, horse farm surrounding it. I'm walking to my unit, and somebody walks by me, looks like Walking Dead. And then another person walks by me, and they're mumbling to themselves. And so at this moment, I'm like checking out. This ain't for me, right? Because I'm a functioning adult and got my shit together. You know, well, I didn't have my shit together, and I stuck it out. And at that moment, I was so in need of some normalcy. It was like, I'm going to stick this out because of my marriage. She doesn't want me because I'm drinking. Couldn't be further from the truth, you know, on why I needed to be there. But so I stuck it out and, you know, went through some detox and went to every class, 12 hours a day, never stayed in bed. I mean, night terrors, hallucinations. I'm not going to paint a huge picture, but anybody Googles withdrawals, I went through it all and you don't know you're going through it when you go through it. That's the thing. Like I saw a light post. I'm in the Ocala National Forest, right? And I see this light post or a telephone pole rather. And I'm like, man, that's a pretty hawk. I have this little thing with birds. And then I see what I thought was a boat down a hill. And I'm like, I'm going to go check that boat out. You know, it looked like a boat on a trailer. And when I'm feeling better, because I was real sick at the time, and like 4 or 5 days into it, I realized that boat was a dumpster to a maintenance shed. Because why wouldn't there be a boat in the middle of the Ocala National Forest down a hill?
Yeah.
You just parked, you know. But that's how screwed up your mind is with these chemicals and the stress and your body's response. And so after about 6 or 7 days, you know, you start coming to, and I started really diving into the classes. And it didn't take me long. You had a trauma track. These classes you could choose to go to. You could choose to go to trauma, which is all behavioral therapy, kind of lumped under the word trauma, or you could go to substance. I don't need, or didn't feel like I needed one of those substance classes to realize I don't need to know what alcohol will do to you or drugs, because it did it to me. You know, I was 40 something years old. I knew exactly what it did. And so I kind of steered towards the behavioral health stuff, where you really got to start looking within and all these things that we thought were normal as men and maybe women. I can only speak from a man's point. The trauma that you felt, the alcohol, everybody's like, man, it must be hard to quit. Man, alcohol's a Band-Aid. Food's a Band-Aid. You know, overworking is a Band-Aid. Humor, in my case, to this day, I'll use humor when I get nervous about something. So I spent 31 days there. I ate healthy. I got a sleeping supplement. For the first time in my life, I was sleeping from 9 a.m. I was getting up at 4:30 and going out and looking at the horses and watching the world wake up. And, these people are from all over, right? They're from New England. They're from out of the country and all that. And there's this guy down there with the horses. And there's one Spanish guy who's Puerto Rican or something. And I mean, New York, Bronx, Puerto Rican, loud and proud and just a lovely human being. He said, Mr. Ben, he's like 60 years old calling me Mr. Ben. He's like, Mr. Ben, those horses will bite you. And, he didn't know I kind of have a thing with horses. So I'm down there and I said, well, Jose, they're a good judge of character. I don't think they're going to, or, because they bit me. And I said, well, they're a good judge of character, Jose, so, but,
yeah, they know the only horse you've seen is on the corner that usually has a police officer on top of it.
Yeah, no kidding, right? So, but there was something majestic about those horses, and just paralleled with rodeo and all that. So, I spent 31 days or 32 days, and they were gonna. I don't want to say release me because I wasn't an inmate. I was there voluntarily, and but my discharge date or completion of the program was going to be December 26th, which happened to fall on a Friday or something. So they couldn't discharge over the weekend. So the next day was Christmas Day. That you could do Christmas Day. And I said, I do not want to be home for Christmas, which sounds crazy, but after 30 days, you kind of feel safe, right?
Yeah.
I hadn't had a drink for the first time in 20 years that I'd gone more than a few days without a drink. And I was dropping weight and I just felt better. And the thought of leaving is like, you can't wait to get out of there. And then when you hit that day to leave, you're like, man, life's going to get real. The worst day of alcoholism isn't the day you check into treatment. It's the day you go home. And so I told them, no, I don't want to leave. And I sat down. They set my discharge date for the Tuesday, the 26th of December. So it was right at 30 days. And I sat down Christmas Day and I started writing a lot when I was there. Like every day I just filled composition books and I wrote myself a letter Christmas Day because I knew it was going to be hard when I got home. So I wrote this letter to myself, 3 or 4 pages, and I mailed it from the treatment center because I knew it would take a couple days to get to me. And so meanwhile, my wife, we're doing these once a week virtual therapy sessions so the counselor can tell her how I'm doing and all that. And that Thursday was our therapy session before I left. And she's like, we can't wait till you come home. And we're waiting to have Christmas till you're back. And the therapist is like, oh, I'm so glad he's got a good place to come home to. And so I mail that letter. I leave that Tuesday. Got my own car service to get home. My wife had some vehicle trouble or something at the time. And, it's a long way home and a lot of thinking. And, I had a cell phone. I didn't have a phone or anything during this time. So it was 30 days on 60 acres that I walked. I ran for the first time in years. I just started feeling human again. Well, I come home and pictures are down. My wife's got a hotel ticket for a week. Everything that I thought I was coming home to was just not that. So the damage had been done. And, and fast forward through that, I end up moving out. We get divorced and I'm on this path now. And then cirrhosis rears its head, right? It doesn't go away. So, I get home and I'm over at Advent Health. For those that don't know, it's about an hour from here. It's in Orlando. They've got these phenomenal hepatologists, liver doctors, and Health First doctor tells me go to Advent. So I'm over at Advent. It feels like every week or so I'm giving blood tests because I have cirrhosis. But then the residual side of that a lot of people don't realize is this thing called hepatocellular carcinoma, which is breaks down to a fancy way of saying liver cancer. And it's like 30-something% of people with cirrhosis develop this. So they want to make sure that you're good. So I'm taking blood tests like every 2 weeks. And then imaging. I got to go from an MRI to a CAT scan to an ultrasound in that order perpetually. I mean, I'm doing it every 3 months. And it was bleak. I'm going to put it there that it was a bleak outcome. And then I got through all that and started feeling better. And then, it goes away, right? Or in my mind, it goes away because I'm not drinking. I'm living right. I've got this house at the beach and single guy, and I'm sober, and I'm standing on this pulpit now of sobriety and lost a bunch of weight. And I'm feeling good. And then they don't see what's going on inside of you. And whereas before it was emotional turmoil and my body fighting and my mind fighting, now it's a thing that I'm fighting survival, and cirrhosis does not go away. And, liver cancer is very real, and it just takes a toll on you, makes you weak, and can't, everything from your diet to your sleep to, I don't know. I'm in this season of life now where I've got a trainer, John. You mentioned my wonderful trainer, and she is a wonderful person. I'm poking a little fun at her, but every day I got to wake up and make a decision if I'm gonna do what I need to do to stay here. And some days it's hard. And
Absolutely.
I know that your podcast is about sports and some lighthearted stuff, but I'm at a point now where I have a lot of regret. Proud, I'm super proud that I got sober. I wish I could have that conversation with my dad and tell him there's a way to do it, that he could have done it, and my marriage failed. I really ran off a lot of friends. Sobriety is a lonely world. They don't tell you what you lose, and this guy, Andy, with Recovery Unplugged, an association I still work with for musicians and songwriters in recovery. I go to Nashville and I run this race. I flew to Nashville to run a 5K. That's how bad life was for me back then. It's because I was so proud that I could run a 5K. I flew to Nashville, ran a 5K in the rain, and flew home the next day because I didn't know if I was going to be able to ever do it again. So I went up there and did it. And Andy tells me that day, we're touring the facility in the music room, and he goes, yeah, sobriety promises you a new life. And he trails off, and I'm waiting for him, to say something. And that's just it. Sobriety promises you a new life. It doesn't mean it's going to be great. It doesn't mean it's going to be bad. Happiness comes from something that you decide. What you do with sobriety. I can promise you this. I don't know what tomorrow will bring with that choice of being sober, but I know what a drink would bring for me. And so, other than the bull riding, all the fun stuff, all the good times and all that, one message today would just be to tell people that, there's another way. If you have that turmoil or you have that inner fight that a lot of men, I think, do, just make a decision. There's never the right time, right? You're going to tell yourself life will be better when. That's this human trap that we fall into, whether it's money, whether it's your relationship. And I was telling this to a close friend one time, that we justify everything. This happened because of this, right? C happened because A and B happened, right? What about just letting things, let the universe tell you when something's not right? Stop making yourself spend a moment in life where you don't feel good, or if you're in turmoil, find out what it is and get rid of it, because or you may end up like me. You may end up worse. I'm so grateful right now that I'm alive from 2 years ago, and here I am looking at a shotgun tomorrow. I go to Advent Health, I think tomorrow or something.
Yeah,
it's a very big reminder, of that death is a step away, and now that I'm sober, I'm facing all these feelings, right?
Yeah.
Every day I go and physically train with a trainer who's fantastic, and I'm lifting weights, and I don't know if I'm gonna be here in a month or 6 months. So there's times when I'm training, you talk about, like, you got to get those 2 more reps in, right? Or living from the fringe, like you guys say.
Yeah.
And here I am. I don't even know if I'm gonna make it, but I'm still doing it. So it's a little long-winded, but
you're always promised. They say, like you said, when you find your sobriety, they promise you a new life. Really, it's the same life. It's just hopefully you make a different decision with that life, because you only get one.
yeah,
We're not here, and I think that's what happens is we feel like we're indestructible, and we can always fix or change or make that adjustment, and then we'll be fine after that. but like you said, you're fighting your inside is fighting you now, and you can't see it.
Mm-mm.
And like people with pancreatic cancer, they often don't make it because they have no symptoms.
It's the same with cirrhosis.
So there's no symptoms.
By the time you find out you have it, it's not that they're any more deadly than anything else. Pancreatic cancer, it's so deadly because by the time you realize that you have it, it's so far advanced. And cirrhosis is that way as well. I mean, did I have symptoms before? Absolutely. But here it is advanced now more than it was then. I feel like I look healthier than I've ever looked.
You do.
And you had a front row seat, like I said, to those years, the lost years. And I'm going to the gym and I'm getting up and I laugh, man. I joke, many times inappropriately. I spend all day joke. If I can make a joke out of something, I do it because I know what it's like. I know what it's like to be serious all the time, right? A good friend of ours who was a Marine Corps combat pilot, right? Helicopter pilot, all tattooed up, beard, the whole thing, big muscled up guy. I get out of treatment and I start posting some pictures and I'm smiling and I didn't smile for years. He sends me a text and this is, if you looked up the definition of man, this guy's a man and he goes, dude, you're glowing, and he goes, we knew something was up. And,
well, you could tell like social media, like, yeah, it's a window, but often it's like it's stained glass. It's what you want people to see.
100%.
But when you look at a picture from one time to another, you can see the difference.
Oh, dude, my sobriety
you start
date,
seeing the pain on the other side when you don't have it on the.
Listen, I got rid of my old social media. I got rid of my old social media because I just changed as a human being. The things that are important to me now are not tangible. You're not going to feel the things that are important to me. And, we're chasing things, right? We spend our whole life trying to accumulate things when we should be accumulating memories and laughs and fun. And what is our impact going to be when we're not here? And it's a little deep right now, but that's where life is for me. If I can make somebody laugh, if I can have somebody watch this and say, I kind of feel that way too. Do I have a problem? And maybe have them look at themselves, look within, take a strong look within, and maybe you're functional. Maybe you have all the signs of being put together as an adult. But I wake up in the morning, I walk down to the beach, and metaphorically and physically, all my troubles are behind me. And that's why I'll never move from the beach. I'll die at a beach somewhere. And I get to do that every morning. And for that 10 minutes, the world's away. I put my feet in the sand, grounding. Imagine a bull rider, a guy who rode bulls and who just generally lived a wild ass life, who meditates now. My friends would make fun of me for this, or who listens to drum circles, because I just try to find that inner peace and the training. That's what I do that for. I get out there, I work out a little bit. I have a lot of laughs, and I don't know. Life just changed for me 2 years ago, and I deal with the regret now of making the mistakes. But I challenge anybody watching this, and even you two, to take a look at something you're doing. And addiction doesn't have to be a drug. It doesn't have to be alcohol. It doesn't have to be a substance. It could be a behavior pattern. It could be just anything. The key to success is breaking one habit. Just in your daily routine, break one habit. And so I don't have anything figured out. I just know that alcohol for me was a Band-Aid to something much bigger, and I don't want to ever see somebody have to pay the costs that I have paid and I'm paying right now for them. So,
well, and we, as a society, like, everything's more expensive, everything's this, but like, we're not making more money, but cost of things are going through the roof. But there's two industries that are recession proof, and one of them is alcohol. So like, it's marketed to make you feel good and make you this and make you that and all that. But obviously, everything in moderation is whatever. But when you're going through stuff that you're internally fighting, and the only time you feel like yourself is with that substance or whatever it is, habit, you don't want to let it go. You want to continue to have it. And that's where the term functional alcoholic comes from.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I worked with a guy who smelt like the bar mat every day because he also drank all day long. Like, we had a water cooler on our truck, and inside the cooler were Budweisers. So when we clocked out, because he didn't have a license, I drove. So when we clocked out, he popped a beer. He never drank while we were working.
Yeah, same with me.
Never. But they were preparing all day long in our water cooler full of ice, so he could have his beer at night.
Yeah,
or when we clocked out. Or the job is done, he's just a passenger, so Budweiser it is. Or he poured a Budweiser into a Coke can, and and I was asked, I was like, get the trash out of the truck, come on. Like, and he's a grown man. I'm like 20 years old, and I'm 21 years old, and I threw the can away once and he lost it.
Yeah.
Again, he never drank while we were working, but he needed that Coke can so it didn't look like he was just in the truck with a beer.
Oh,
And
dude,
it's crazy. The creativity you come up with when you're hiding your demons, is second to none.
Yeah, it's just a cycle, and I wish that I would have made the decision sooner, but I made it when I was ready to, and
that's something I always say to my friends or anyone is, don't look back on the past as a mistake, because you, like in your situation, you weren't ready for that. My situation, where I just didn't care what happened to me, and I wasn't ready to make the decision. And until you have that aha moment, the realization moment of like, here it is. I hope my wife doesn't watch these, but we had been going through IVF, lose twins, lose another one. Come to find out, we've been miscarrying forever, like all this. And the woman always thinks it's her. I think it's me. And I'm just like, what is wrong with me? Like this, that. Why can't I help her? Why can't I get us there? Like, I come off my all my medications. I'm like, because I have Lyme disease, so they were trying to figure out how to function that. And testosterone, my body doesn't produce enough, thanks to Lyme disease, to heal itself. So I have to inject testosterone weekly. And the problem with testosterone is everyone's like, oh, back when we were in college, you're going to get somebody pregnant. No, I'm not. Testosterone is male birth control. Your libido might be high, but you are shooting blanks. Like, that's what testosterone is. It sends a signal to your brain to not create semen naturally. And that might be a weird thing to say on this podcast, but it's about real shit. So, so I come off that. But again, I'm on the testosterone because my body doesn't heal itself. So I'm 18 months in pain every day, all day long, but in the hopes that we can have a child. and start our family and, you know, go down that whole path. And that's how I ended up at the, like, I could just, you know, the whole Jesus take the wheel. I could just let go of the wheel, and if it happens, it happens. And, you know, it was when I wanted to start feeling pain, like I didn't deserve something. That's when I was like, what are you doing? Like,
oh man, that's you
know,
nailed it. You nailed it right there.
You need to take control of the things you can control. Whatever happened in the past, you can't control it. I can't control when I was 8 and I picked a baseball up from practice from that field, and that's where I got the tick on me and got Lyme disease. Can't control that. It's what it is. Here I am. You know, this is a very hot topic in this country about, oh, people are on Ozempic and they're just losing weight through this shot. And they put me on Ozempic because it was the only drug that was helping some people's endocrine system turn back on.
Yeah.
Mine had been off for 2.5 decades. You know, you remember me in high school? I was 145 pounds, scrawny.
Same.
And it was the only thing. It turned my endocrine system back on. I wasn't in pain. I wasn't hurting. My testosterone numbers are through the roof. Like they're getting to the point where they're too hot. And like today, I had to go. I'll say it, Lou, on here. I have to get blood work done every month because of the testosterone. I'm at a high risk of stroke or heart attack because it makes your blood thick. So the lady takes the needle out. You know, again, I'm always joking around. She takes the needle out, and I was like, oh. And I look between my legs, and it's all blood. And I said, I squirted. And the lady, I thought I broke her. She's like, what? What? She didn't know whether to laugh or cry or like get away from me. But I was like, and she's like,
I have that effect on women too.
I was like, you want me to clean it? I was like, I can clean it. It's not yours. It's mine. And she goes, no, I got it. So I'm sitting there and she's like, don't move. And then like, she's like wiping between my legs and I'm looking at her. I'm like, and what I said was weird, or is this weird? And she's like, leave me alone.
Yeah.
She's like, you need to leave. I'm glad you only come once a month.
Yeah. But that's a tough crowd. So.
Yeah. You know, but it's like, there's so much that we deal with. I'll talk about it with any of our friends, you know, any of them. In some of our closest friends, like they're going through stuff and they don't want to talk about it, but now will call me and say, hey man, I saw your podcast and this and or that. And I'm like, look, dude, you are not alone in this. Like, it's just society tells us we can't, you know, you're being a little bitch if you show your feelings.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be a little bitch because I don't care. Like, there's so many people that should still be here or are going through shit and they can't figure it out. They just need someone to care.
I mean, the reality of it is, I was kind of having this conversation with somebody yesterday. You don't get second chances all the time. So you have to tell people how you feel. Like, if you care about somebody, you should tell them. You know, I mean, who knows if we're going to wake up tomorrow, right? And that's just reality of the situation. You get hit by a car, you can, you know, whatever. You just, natural causes, right? I mean, you just don't know. But it takes a long time to get to the point where you realize that, when you can swallow your pride, where the ego goes away, when you go through some shit that, like we talked about on the second or third episode, I don't remember which one it was, and that you're living every day. Like, sometimes it takes that to hit you over the head to say, you know, I can be better and I should be better. And if you don't like the fact that, well, that's your prerogative, but I'm going to tell you, you know, I think you're great, you know. You know, I have girls, you know, and my one's going to be 10 on Thursday. And she's getting to the point where, you know, she wants to wear makeup, you know, and she came in one day, she's like, I'm fat. I'm like, furthest thing from fat. She's a string bean, you know, so my girls know, I tell them every day that they're beautiful, you know, and they're perfect. And my son, doesn't listen to anything I say because he's, as John and I both refer to our sons as Cam Scataboos, because they just run into the wall and think it's funny, and probably both have CTE. I don't, you know.
Junior, yeah, they have what, toddler? No, what is it? Toddler? Yeah,
Yeah,
toddler CTE.
that's CTE. Yeah.
Like two maniacs. Like,
Two maniacs, yeah. But, you know, I mean, at 10 years, like, it broke my heart, man. She's 9 years old, and she's like, I'm fat. You know, I need makeup so I can be pretty. I'm like, no, you don't. No, you don't.
Well, it's the same. So how we talk
just
about the being a little bitch thing, like society tells our girls that you have to be beautiful, but in order to be beautiful, maybe it's Maybelline, maybe it's this, maybe it's, you know, you don't need that stuff. Like, none of that's important. You know, like there's so much more about, you know, we've touched a little bit on the IVF stuff, and, you know, for us, you just give your donation and that's it. That's all we do. But for our wives or partners or whomever, it destroys their hormones. And I don't mean like, you know, like, because it tricks your body into thinking it's pregnant before it is. Before you even have your procedure, your body thinks it's already a month pregnant. So, like, just the things I've seen firsthand, you know, just my wife, who never questioned anything, starts questioning herself. And I'm like, because I used to say stupid stuff to her, like, oh, if this happens, then I'm out. If this happens, then I'm out. Ugh, I'm shallow. Ugh. And I said, look, I don't care about any of that stuff. I love the person. I'll try to help you do whatever you want to do, whatever makes you feel good. But none of that matters. You know, she's a phenomenal mother to our kids. That's hot to me. Like, that's sexy to me. Like, our kids, if anything ever happened to me, I know they're set, you know, as long as they have that woman. If something happened to her, I feel I'm terrified for those kids.
Yeah.
You know, because they're never leaving the house. Amelia's about to have the only 2-story window with an electric fence around it. Like, ain't no way. I'm terrified. But
as a dad of 2 girls,
yeah,
I know.
So you know.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah. Blue's got 2 girls. My buddy Travis has 4 girls.
Whew.
His wife said, "Oh, but don't you want to try for a son?" He said, "And end up with a 5th daughter?"
Amen to that.
What?
Yeah, I think
he said we can adopt one.
Having Ava was having the girl first was what kind of changed it for me. Like, and put a lot of things I learned growing up, you know, obviously being the only guy in the house growing up, you know, being surrounded by women, you know, what I learned from that when you start looking back and you're like, oh, you know, you kind of understand what was going on. Now it comes to this, and then there's this little tiny thing, you know, I made the joke when she was born, she was like 5 pounds, like, I ate sandwiches bigger than you. Like,
yeah,
you know, and this tiny little thing that needs you and depends on you, definitely changes, starts to get you to change, you know, who you are, and, you know, really figure out some stuff. So, but yeah, no, Ben, it's really inspirational that, you know, you're able to, you know, get the help that you needed, you know, to get yourself on a path, you know, to extend your life and to not give up. You know, my thing with people is don't ever give up. Just fight. You know, fight to the end. Life's worth living. You know, we both, John and I, both been to the Fringe. You were, you know, certainly there too. That's really why this worked for us, this name and where this came from. And when you're teetering and you're that close, people People who haven't been there don't understand. That's why doing this is important, and that's why we're forever grateful for you to come on and share this, because people need to hear that you're one gust of wind from going over. But you don't have to be. You don't have to be in that situation. You can get help. You can be okay. It's going to be hard work, but life itself is hard work. So if you're not willing to put in the work, then you're really just giving up anyway. So don't give up. Keep fighting. And
the old sentiment: anything worth having and worth doing is hard, is true.
100% true.
Because all the easy stuff, it's not worth anything.
Mm-mm.
And when you think you've done something, oh, that was easy, it means nothing. It's all forgotten junk, and it just, and a lot of the times the easy way is the harmful stuff, because it was easier to have a drink. For my stepdad, it was easier to just get drugs. It's like all these things were just easier. And unfortunately, if you listen to the third episode, Lou's dad went the other way. It was easier to whatever, but unfortunately, you never know.
Right.
Now, granted, you were 3. You could never have helped him at 3 years old.
No.
But when people do that, they feel like they are doing what's best for the people who love them. It is never the best thing for the people who love you, because you are the best thing for people who love you.
Well, it becomes an excuse too. Well, my dad did it, so I might as well just do it.
Yeah.
No. That's what it was. Off
a bridge, or if your friends are standing on the edge of a bridge, or you're gonna jump off too, it's. And I tell my daughter that all the time. I'm like, she's turned 5 yesterday. I'm having conversations. I was like, why am I this world, everything's so fast now. Like, I'm like, just because this person did that doesn't mean you have to do it. Like, none of that crap is important.
Everybody wants instant gratification and instant everything instant.
Let's be honest, so do we. Like, so do we.
Well, sure.
Lou and I are starting this company, and we've already acquired part of another company, and we're just kind of really all parties involved are doing it together, and Lou and I already have, and our partner already owned the rights to another website that we haven't even started yet. Like, we have all these things, and me and Lou are not patient. We want to just go. And it takes time, and actually, Ben, you're the first person I told about FTF, because we were talking about polos and like creating them for your company and things of that nature. Like, you were actually the first person that knew. And
I remember that.
And literally, we were just catching up through Facebook Messenger, and but everything worth doing takes time. And like, I'm doing stuff all night long. Lou's getting text messages from me. I know he's asleep, but when he wakes up, and at 2:30 in the morning, boop, there it is. And
man, I get 3 honeydew lists. I get a honeydew list from John, a honeydew list from my wife, and a honeydew list from my kids.
Well, let's be honest. I have the same one. It's just Lou instead of John, because kids, wife, Lou, and it's just. But the things we need done. Like, and in order to do this thing, we want to do it right. We want to take care of the people. I just had my guys trip, and the polo I made for them. 2 of them wore it yesterday we're all back home. They wore it at their local golf courses. And one of the guys sent me a video and said, hey, my buddy owns a business, but he wants to buy one of these polos. He's not even in I don't even know who he is. He's like, but he wants to buy one. And I'm like, okay, like, sure. And, I made this polo and it all started, you're in Brevard, because of my friends that are Brevard County firefighters. And Brevard was screwing them. Like they weren't making any money. Their deal was horrendous. And I want to do something that gives the people on some of our worst day, that is there every single day.
Yeah.
They're the ones that get called to pull us from the fire, to get us out of our cars when we get in a car accident, who they're the ones that get called. They take that trauma home from us being an idiot, and we, slide ourselves down 95 or put ourselves in the median and all this other junk. They're the ones that have to take home that memory of, especially, I couldn't imagine having that job and you get called to a scene and the person.
Yeah. Especially
I couldn't imagine.
A small area. Yeah.
Yeah. And what Melbourne's like in Brevard, like we all know each other. And if we don't know you, where are you from? You're transplanted in. Where'd you come from? Like, so, you work at Kennedy? Like, but, and it's funny because it's true.
It's absolutely true.
But, so I guess I'm going to leak it. I'm bad at this. We are going to do everything in our power to create high-end products that are created in the same places as some of the top brands. I won't say their names so I don't get sued, but, I'm trying to figure out how to say it because I'm not a very beat around the bush type of person. This company sells polos for anywhere from $130 to $150. And we're probably going to sell it for $69.99. And they definitely get it for cheaper than I'll be getting it. So, we're just going to, I want to do it for the people, and I just, myself, Lou, we know it can be done. It just needs to be. And so we said the hell with it. Like, we're going to do it. And we have a great partner, a couple of great partners, and, here we are. But, it's I was going to put the polo on and I didn't because I didn't know I was going to leak it, but sorry, Lou, leaked it. But, we're still a few months out from all that, but it's going to be awesome. And I'm excited for the future. I think this is going to be our first dual episode, Lou, because this one is much longer than all of our other ones.
Yeah, so. Sorry about that, guys.
No. And people need to hear what's real. Like
something I do want to add. Well, we have just a minute. Is when I went through all that, and I went through put myself through some treatment for alcoholism. My marriage was failing, all that. 1 month after I got home in this little town called Kenansville, which is, about an hour from Melbourne, John, it's just south of St. Cloud. A little cowboy town, very small and very agricultural. And where a lot of my friends are, they have what's called a swamp cabbage fest. And for those that don't know, in Florida, we have the heart of a cabbage palm. They cook it, and it's just like an artichoke, kind of. And so they have a big festival, which is essentially a craft show and all that. Well, I go out to it after that, and I had been making some posts on social media about sobriety, and I was stopping. I wanted to stop making those posts because I felt like it was kind of getting to be attention seeking or something like that. And my friend David Kane, who's just an awesome cowboy, an awesome human being, a little bit older than me, comes up to me and he says, "Man," he goes, "do you realize how many people that we know are in the same boat that you were in?" He goes, "So if they see what you're doing, or see that you went through it. He goes, it might help one or two of them. And so what I'm getting at, that story leads me to what you guys are doing. You know, if somebody comes on this podcast and just drops a little bit of knowledge, no matter what the topic is, somebody watching it hears it, and then by all measures in my mind, that's a success. It's not financial.
Yeah, it's not. We said in the beginning too. Like, if we don't make a dime from this, but we help one person, is able to save their life or make a change in their life for the better, or become successful because of something that they heard on here or somebody's story, then that's all that matters. That's really what this came from. The other stuff is a lot of fun. It's fun trying to come up with ideas to do things, and when you're doing it with your friend, it's that much more rewarding. Basically married to John at this point since last year. It was kind of funny how we met, and then how we stayed in contact, and then it was just really kind of creepy because we'd be thinking the same thing, or I'd say something that he was thinking, or vice versa. Or hey, like today, I'd be like, hey, today I did blah blah blah. He's like, oh my god, I'm doing that right now, and so it was just weird. So it was kind of like you saw the signs. It was meant to be. It was meant to be. We were meant to help, and then we shared our stories. We felt comfortable enough to share stories, and then here we are. So it took a long time for me to be able to get to a point to share with people. And then obviously putting it out on the internet now, was difficult. But if you don't do it, then people don't know, and then you can't help people. So that's where we're at. And we've gotten some interesting feedback from people that didn't know stuff about us, that from blown away to how can I make a change? How can I make a change in my routine? How can I make a change? How did you make those changes mentally? And then let's face it, mental health in this country is a big issue. But it comes with, you have to want it. You have to retrain yourself. You have to be able to, I talk about it all the time. I know it makes John sick. You got to be able to reflect on your actions, on your words, and everything that you do. And are you always going to be right? Nope. Are you going to make terrible mistakes? Yep. And it doesn't matter if it's in your personal life, if it's, something we say on this podcast, if it's on the golf course, if it's at work, if it's to your kids. I blew up with my kids last night. They came home and they were on one. They were out of control. And I lost it. And I hate being like that, because they're good kids, and I went like nuclear. And I went upstairs and I put myself in timeout and, thought about what I said and how I did it and what I should have done or how I should have done it better. And, but in that moment, that's, but that happens to everybody, but you've got to be able to take yourself out of that and look back and say, what could I have done better? How can I get better? How can I be a better dad? Because let's face it, the stuff that these kids are going to face in their life is not stuff that we faced growing up. The stuff that they're going to face, a year from now, so we got to be able to adjust to and be able to have that open mind and be able to adapt. And it's a learning curve, John, we talk about it all the time, like we're talking about stuff this morning that was kind of heavy because of part of the nature of what my job is. And, it's just a scary world. So you got to be able to adapt. We have to get out of our own way. But you have to be able to reflect. And you have to be able to make the change, but you got to want to make the change, so it took a long time to get there. It's not something you just flip a switch and it's overnight. Like I said, it started, David was born, and you start looking at things differently, and here I am. So but yeah, Ben, man, we're praying for you. We'll be thinking of you. We'll be finding ways to get you back on, man, just to keep up and see what's going on. And
if you want to
are we going down there in October for that thing? Like, will we get a chance to meet Ben down there when we're down there? Or? Love to meet you in person, man.
Benevolent Fund?
Yeah.
I mean, I know I'll be there. Or if you're going to be there, then sure, yes. Ben will be there.
It's a package deal, man.
Yeah, but I already got my squad, man. You got to bring your own. BYO squad.
I'll bring my own squad.
Lou, I have no doubt. I should be good, and you got a squad here, bud. So
awesome.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So
This is
Yeah, I appreciate
this is
it,
great
guys.
though. This is what this
thanks,
is all
buddy.
about, man. So like I said, your strength is unbelievable. Thank you. I know this is going to help people.
Well, you
I
helped
have
me.
people in mind that I want to watch this because I know that this will help.
Yeah, and
Well, I hope it does.
if you want to send us those like the link to places you went, like the facilities or different things that helped you, resources. We like to make sure that the community has those.
100%.
So if you have a list of things that resources that helped you, then definitely send them to me, and I'll make sure Lou gets them. That way he can put them on the end.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah,
I
and I
think we're gonna have to
there's some
make this split podcast, and
there was some
make it a to be continued. So maybe we do it this Sunday, and then the next one.
Yeah, we'll cut it right when John squirts his blood. That's when we're going to cut.
that was awesome.
Leave him one more.
Yeah, so I'll get you guys that information, and but I also want to point out that somebody can contact me. I mean, I don't know what for obviously facing some things right now, so I don't know what tomorrow brings. But I'm never in this technically advanced world. I'm never too busy for somebody to call me directly, especially if it comes to something that we talked about today.
Awesome.
Do you want us to put your Instagram or at whatever so they can reach out to you through social?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, you can do that, John.
we don't want to put your number out there. So.
Yeah, I get enough calls with business, as you guys can imagine. But yeah, the somebody can send me a message or something. But yeah, John, you can share both the social medias. I'll send you the links or however that works. And
yeah, for sure.
Somebody can reach out to me directly if something resonated or they want some more clarity on something. The only thing I can offer the world right now is some experience, and hopefully it helps somebody. So.
Awesome. Yeah, we appreciate that.
A lot of the times that's the best. That's the best first step is somebody who's been there, especially when you think it's impossible.
I'm going to be very clear on something, and if this makes it through the podcast, I hope it does. Me quitting alcohol November 26th of 2023 was great. Me choosing to live every day, and by live I mean truly live. Stop and smell the roses. Not drinking alcohol is a huge decision every day, but stop and smell the roses. Enjoy when somebody smiles at you. Tell somebody they look nice that day. Laugh with your personal trainer who's trying to kill you. And I hope she sees this because that's what she's doing. Make that inappropriate joke. Say what's on your mind. That's living. So, yeah, did I quit alcohol November 26th of 2023? And that's a very good day for me. Every day is good for me. I'm not just, going through life. I'm living it for the first time in 45 years. So,
and the sad part is most people think they're living it when they're partying and doing all this other.
Nah, dude, let me tell you something that I say a lot right now. I'm my authentic self is one. You'll hear me say that a lot. I'm my authentic self now, but life is what happens when you're busy making plans. Yeah. Trust me when I say that. We're making plans every day. And you know what's happening the whole time? That's life right then. So I'm taking a lot more in the moment stuff now. And
the moments matter more.
Oh my God, dude. So much more. So much more. That everything that's tangible goes. How you feel doesn't. So
I tell somebody that I talk to pretty regularly, life is too short to be unhappy.
100%.
Do what makes you happy.
Yeah, 100%. I mean,
you work hard, you take care of your family. You want to go watch a movie, go watch a movie. You want to go out to dinner, go out to dinner. You want to, whatever, go do it.
The friend that John and I keep bringing up, she's on this new journey and she's always been into fitness and now she's making a career out of it. And I saw this quote the other day on an airplane, which it seems like I spend more of my life on airplanes than anything else. But I'm reading this quote by Denzel Washington, or watched this video of him, and then this quote stuck out to me. True desire in the heart for anything good, it's God's proof to you beforehand that it's already yours. If you have a desire on your heart for something good, that's God telling you already that it's yours. So I sent that quote to my friend who's just starting her journey with this personal training. And I said, you had that desire because God put it on your heart that it's already yours. And I'm going to say the same thing to you guys, whether you believe in God or Buddha or a funky chicken, whatever the case may be, it's regardless. It's put on your heart for this to succeed, guys, because God or somebody's telling you it's already yours. So I'm a fan. I hope somebody gets something out of my message. And I'm certainly grateful that you guys allowed me to get some of these things off of my chest that I so badly needed to get off my chest. So,
yeah, man.
We're happy you're here.
Like when he messaged me, he's like, I want to tell this. And at first I felt like he thought I was brushing him off because we had 3 recordings that week and I was leaving.
nah.
And I was like, Ben, no, when I get back, we'll schedule it for sure. And he's like, and I was like, no, for real. Like, we're going to do it. And I thought he felt like I was brushing him off. And I was, no, there's just no time.
Just, time for all of us is at a premium. And, tomorrow, you never know about tomorrow's. And I face that sometimes. So I'm just glad we got to get together. Sorry about the lighting, guys. Obviously it's ran a lot longer than we
it's fine. It's only on YouTube video. Everything else is streaming, so they won't see you on there. It's all just audio. So
we could narrate it. At Ben's, the lights went dim. It's a very romantic setting, Ben. Thank you.
Yes. I have been
John squirting.
Yes. Yeah, we call that balance where I come from. So
what a prude. Anyways.
Yeah. All right, fellas.
Well, all I know is that this is going to be on Lou's highlight reels. The little reels he makes of like the thumbnails. There's so many in this already. Like as soon as I said something earlier, I was like, oh boy.
You told me on the phone earlier as I was eating lunch, and I literally spit my food out across my desk. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, that's like when you're in sports or a professional now, they're miking people up, and it's like you got to sign these papers to be like you're going to watch your language and all that. You know how hard that is, to not.
I do,
especially if it's a contact sport or something, and
it's hard to do in meetings in the public school system.
Oh my God. Yeah, I am. What's funny? One thing about sobriety is I've been a clown my whole life, and I'm sure John, many of our friends that would tell you that since I've gotten sober, it's so much worse. Like I am no filter now because like I done seen death. I faced it. That part of me, what was it? Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, he's like, consider yourself as already having died. Now take what's left of your life and live it.
Yeah,
buddy, that's what I'm doing. So, if I try to be appropriate, but many times I'm not. And if it's on my mind, I'll say it. So
that's usually why I was always in trouble.
What's that?
John and I like to make things awkward, so we'll say it too.
Yeah.
I
unfortunately had that problem my entire life. So like, I've had to learn to filter. Like my friends now, they're like, a lot of them, but like, It's like, what happened? Like, why are you not? And I'm like, dude, I have kids now, man. I got soft, but they'll say something, and I'm quick to be like, no, sir, not today, not me. Like,
not on the golf course.
Yeah,
that old John comes right out.
Yeah, in the whole theme of Dr. Seuss's birthday yesterday, not in this cart, not on this course, not in a purse, not on the moon, not with the balloon. I don't eat green eggs and ham. Sam, I am like it's. I still have that. Like I'm still very much the person who's going to tell you the truth. But you also know I'm not going to lie to you because I just don't have time for that. Like us growing up, like it was like John's the biggest asshole, but I wasn't lying to you. Like, now people appreciate honesty. Now I'm just an asshole. But again, we just need to have more honest conversations.
Truth hurts sometimes too. But it's better to hear it and make the change than to not.
People like to say that I have them on a gag order sometimes. And I'm like, it's not important. That shit don't matter. Who cares? The 10 minutes of upper hand, haha, for what? Because then you're like, God, I shouldn't have said that. Shouldn't have done that.
Oh, I still catch myself. I'll send an inappropriate text or I'll make an inappropriate comment, and then I find myself later being like, "Hey, I'm sorry about that comment." And then on the other hand, I'm like, I don't give a shit. Like I'm gonna say,
yeah.
Facebook and
that's the
Apple
thing,
making the text message deletion button was a lifesaver.
yeah, unsend.
You just hoping they didn't see it.
Unsent for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
drink
you
anymore,
or
so
everyone.
I don't have that excuse. Like, well, Ben was drinking last night, so he sent some weird shit. Now I'm just sober.
Well, now people are like, oh, is Ben drinking again?
No shit, right? Or they're gonna be like, nah, he really is fucked up.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, that was in there before. All right, so that wasn't alcohol. That was in there. Got it.
nah.
That's always been. Yeah.
Guys, I appreciate it, man.
Thanks,
man,
man.
absolutely. It was
You're
great
welcome.
having you on.
Appreciate it, man.
Again, everyone, if you need anything, let us know. We'll put Ben's socials, resources, things at the end of this. Don't do it alone.
You don't have to, and then we'll fight it together. I fight it.
Yeah.
You're enough and you're not alone.
All right, guys.
Take care.